This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is sponsored by Wise Guy Media, a new company dedicated to showcasing the talents and offerings of their customers through podcasting, eye-catching graphics, logo, and customized web design. Established in 2015, Wise Guy Media is continuing to push the elements of web and logo design with outside-of-the-box ideas and up-to-date graphic-generating programs. Whether you want to launch your own podcast, need a website, or a new logo for your brand, they have all your needs covered to promote yourself and get your brand recognized in your industry. To see what they've been up to, check out their site, www.sonyermedia.com/wiseguy, for a sample of what they've been doing to help get this podcast off the ground. That's www.sonyermedia.com/wiseguy. Howdy, partners. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show midweek show here on Wednesday. As you guys can hear in the background, there's lots of noise going on. The wife and I are heading out of town for our anniversary, a couple days, a little bed and breakfast down in Anna Maria Island. And for those of you who do not know where Anna Maria Island is, it is about an hour south of Tampa, right on the Gulf of Mexico, little island out there. And looking forward to getting a couple days off, give my body a break. Hopefully this burn on my foot gets a little bit better in the salt water, because right now it hurts like shit and it doesn't look too good. I'll have to throw some pictures up for y'all to see how nasty my burn looks. And anyways, I'm just here rambling on. I wanted to discuss today about selling your glass, outlets and ways of doing it besides selling to retail stores. Throughout most of my career, I've been a lazy salesperson per se, where I've always dealt with distributors. For about 13 years, the first 13 years of my glass life, I sold to two different wholesalers. And then I eventually branched out and dealt with a catalog company out in California. And then in 2008, when the market took a shit, that company kind of stopped doing business. And so did I. So that being said, the benefits and the pros and cons of dealing with a distributor. The pros is it's a consistency. More or less, they will buy if you have a good product or a product line. Whether you have one item or 20 items, more likely the companies that you would sell to would pick them up, and they'll do photography for you and throw them in their catalog, whether it's a paper catalog or online, and then they then go out and distribute it to the stores. Where if you deal locally, like I had a local distributor who just went to the stores himself. He didn't have any kind of catalog or anything, and he wasn't as consistent because he didn't go out and do the catalog thing. So I would recommend, if you do look for a company out there, there's many. I'm not going to name any right now because I don't want to name names necessarily, but you guys know a lot of the bigger names out there. You could probably even just go online and Google glass pipe distribution companies and see what comes up. But I do recommend, though, if you do that you make sure that if you have a product line, I would start off with one or two items at first, because if this company, say you're dealing with, puts 1,000 catalogs out, and 1% of the stores actually purchase your item through their catalog, that number alone could bog you down for a month. And if you're not prepared for it, you can then get behind and look like a dumbass, and then the company will no longer buy from you. So you got to make sure that when you do catalog work, that either you already have stock in waiting to go out, inventory-wise, or that you're prepared for a larger order. Because I know in the past, we had about 25 items in our catalog that we had out distribution-wise, and we were ranging around 5 to 10% feedback or recall or whatever you want to call it on orders, and it worked out great, but we got so bogged down and behind that, like I said previously there, that they stopped buying from us because we weren't consistent, and their customers were getting frustrated because it was always back ordered. So just kind of a thought there. But make sure that you do have a consistent product, clean product, and something that not only that you would want to buy yourself, but that you would feel comfortable selling and manufacturing in a mass quantity. Like with my Wise Guy line, I like that because it's a specific style and item, and I know that it's something that I'm familiar and comfortable with. So if I get an order, say, for 50 hand pipes of my Wise Guy line, I know I can crank that out in probably a day or two. When you also get down into doing distribution, you should really break down the cost of your items by weighing your product. So say if you have a 3-inch spoon that you're making, a wrap and rake spoon, for instance, you figured, like my spoons I was making, a 3-inch spoon, I would use 1-inch heavy wall, and I would use a 2-inch section of 1-inch heavy wall. So I would take that 2-inch section and weigh it, and based on the full tube itself, you can break down the weight of a tube. Like say if a tube weighs 2 pounds and it costs you $3 for the tube, you can break that down to the numbers and really fine-tune your calculations to the penny. And then you figure, how much color is it going to take to wrap the spoon. And then if you're going to rake it, then you need to figure in the glass, 4 mil or whatever you're using to rake it with. All that stuff comes in. And then you got to figure out your costs of actual manufacturing of your electricity, your gas, that kind of stuff. Basically what I've done in the past is I've taken a $10 an hour number as basically what it cost me to work. So I know that if I want to make $30 an hour profit, I need to be able to produce $40 an hour worth of product. So if I have a spoon, say like my 3-inch spoons, my wrap and rakes, I used to wholesale those for $5, and they would then turn around and sell them to the shops for $8 to $10, and then $15 back. This is like I said, 10 years ago. So do the numbers and do the math, and actually sit down with a pen and paper and really write it down and focus. And if you can calculate down to the very penny, then you can set yourself up. So if you know a company's going to be ordering 50 to 100 pieces a month from you, you'll know ahead of time how much inventory you need to have in terms of your raw materials as well. A lot of times, too, companies that I buy stuff, they'll have like every 6 months they'll have a 50% off sale or a 40% off sale or what have you on the material. And those are the times of years that you want to buy your stuff if you can, and buy it in bulk. And if you do buy in bulk, try and buy at least 8 to 10 cases, because then you can have it shipped freight, which only costs around $120. And as you all know, those who buy cases, you figure, depending on the brand, a case of glass is going to cost you anywhere from $20 to $35 per case to ship. So if you're getting 5 cases of glass at, say, $25 a piece, there's $125 right there. And if you get 10 cases, it's going to cost you $120 to have it shipped. So you can, save a whole shitload of money. Like I just got on a sale just recently from a company, and it actually, with the amount of money that I saved on my discount from the sale, is what it cost me in shipping, which was kind of crazy. So I more or less got free shipping on the order. So anyways, I'm kind of going around and kind of back and forth here, but ideally, it makes it a lot easier instead of having to pound the pavement, because there's been so many times where I've gone to stores in the past, which is one of the reasons I stopped going to stores, where I'd go to a shop and the shop owner would spend an hour dealing with customers before they even got to me. And then they'd get to me and they'd open up my case of glass and say I had like a $500 case. He'd be like, I'll give you $250 for the whole thing. And I'd be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. I'm not wasting my time. So unfortunately, back in the day, that's how it was. Nowadays, it's a little bit different because of the appreciation for the glass and the value of what we're getting for our glass now is way different. And also with the import glass, even though it's still coming in, it's not as competitive per se because of the amount of glass artists that we have in our country now that have, everybody's got such a variety of stuff going out. But my best favorite thing about having a distributor is being able to stay behind the torch, and then you just pack up your shit and send it off in the mail to them. Or if they're local to your area, then you can just drive to them and deliver yourself. So just kind of a little tip there for that. And I don't know. Hopefully you guys enjoy this thing here, and I know I'm kind of going in circles. I have no notes in front of me, so I'm just kind of going here off the top of my head, so I'm kind of all over the place with this. But hopefully it helps. And Friday I'm going to have a beginning interview with my buddy Chris Dickey. He is also known as the Goblin King. He's a glass artist out of Texas who has been behind the torch now for a little bit over 3 years, and he's got a pretty cool story with his up-and-coming glass-blowing life. He's been in our industry for around 7-8 years, but actually only behind the torch for 3. And he's been surrounded and influenced by some of the big names in our industry that has helped him grow and mature as a glass artist. And for those of you who are on Facebook, he is under Chris Dickey on Facebook. You can also find his business Facebook page under Goblin King. And then on Instagram, he is at XXGoblinKingXX. If you guys want to look him up. And I'll have all these links in the show notes page on Monday when his official episode starts. And we had a pretty good chat. It was about an almost 2-hour conversation. So I'm going to break his interview up into 3 shows again, like I did with Rashawn. Chris has a really interesting perspective on the industry, being that he's come up in the past, like I said, 3 years behind the torch, and he's kind of seen the pretty crazy growth that we've had, and being new and coming up in that, it's been an interesting journey for him. And he's also a big Disney nut, and that was one of the ways that him and I first started talking when he found out that I actually was a glass artist there, and he kind of lives vicariously through me, which is a fun thing. So, all right, guys. If you have any questions, comments, as you know, please leave them in the show notes page or on the podcast where you can leave comments. If any companies out there, shops, anybody listening to the show is interested in sponsorship, I'm starting to look for sponsors now. I'm going to be contacting a bunch of companies, and I'm really going to be very picky with who I bring on. I don't want to just bring anybody on, but if you're an artist or a shop owner, or you manufacture tools or materials and you would like to sponsor the show, please send me an email at jmichaelglass76@gmail.com. I will have my email in the show notes page as well. And or you can just go to wiseguyradio.com, click on the contact button we have there, and that would also send that to the same email. So anyways, guys, hope you all have a beautiful week, and happy melting. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, please leave them in the show notes page area where it says comments. We'll see you soon. Have a wise night.